Hello, you're listening to episode 3 of the AltBrau podcast. It's 420 week this week in the Bay Area. I'm recording this now on the 22nd. And yeah, if you saw the pictures coming from Hippie Hill and Golden Gate Park, you'd know there was tens of thousands of people out there with this giant cloud of smoke over the whole park. I was over in Mission District and it wasn't much better. And yeah, so pretty crazy out here in the Bay Area. So I decided to invite a friend of mine, Luigi Diaz, local comedian here in Oakland, to come talk about some of the comparisons that can be made between beer and the world of cannabis. Similar aromas, similar demographics, similar cravings for Taco Bell. So yeah, enjoy this episode. And please, if you're not already following us on Instagram and Facebook, hit us up. It's, just Google search AltBrau, easy to find. Thanks so much for listening and enjoy. I don't know if you've observed, but in craft beer, it's like really a lot of crossover going on between weed culture, the whole 420 thing and beer. And so I was just, wanted to come in, just talk about it, have some notes and stuff. Just, yeah,
That's what's up.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you have a preference on your favorite sticky green bud? Is it strictly weed or is it also hops? I know you like your beers too, right?
Yeah, I love my beers.
As far as I'm not sure if you're familiar, but like obviously there's a lot of crossover, not just with fan base of these two mood enhancers, but also they're in the same plant family as far as hops go. There's some common oils, and so I see you did bring some samples of things we can smell. And
full different ones too.
Okay. So what did you bring us?
All right, I brought some Indoor Blue Dream, real good sativa hybrid. It's like blueberry indica and then sativa haze. Okay. Really good.
So we're gonna smell these because Luigi here is the expert when it comes to that side of things, and I like to think I'm well learned in my beer, but since we're doing this, I wanted to bring in an expert, so we'll try something a little bit different here. Yeah. This one smells very familiar as far as, again, hops. And we're going to get into some beers. I want to have you smell some of these beers. And some of them specifically, they were going for that aroma. So
yeah, sometimes I see when I go to, beer bars or like a brewery and I see the hops, like the jar. They have they look like they have like a jar of
they're nugs. I mean,
full of nugs. And you're like, yeah. Can you even smoke a hop?
So you can... You wouldn't want to put it in a bowl or something and smoke it because it's not going to be good for your lungs, the combustible material, the plant matter. But some people will use them in a vaporizer. But even then, it's not that great to inhale. But it's interesting. I've seen people take the Volcano and at the very, very lowest setting, grind up some whole cone hop, throw it in there at very low settings. You can get all the aromas a lot of the aromas are more character that you're going to get in the beer. It's one thing because you can rub them together and you get them heat activated with your friction in your hands, but this brings out a whole other thing. So it's kind of fun if you see someone with a vapor like a Volcano. Yeah, that's the best one to
get some hops out of it. We'll probably go to like the Spark.
Yeah.
Down there in San Francisco and start bringing some hops. We're like, whoa, what the hell are you smoking there?
Yeah. So what is the second one here?
That one, what does it say? Oh, that's Tahoe OG.
Okay.
Tahoe OG. Oh my god, that one actually, we tested it. My friend grew that, and that tested to like 26% THC, which is ridiculous.
That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that one is a heavy indica, and it'll literally put you to sleep. There's like...
So this is something where if you should specifically smell like Citra and Amarillo hops, Motueka hops, some of the really fruity ones. This one, for the listener, smells just like tangerines, basically. Yeah. Really, really citrusy. First one was more, like you said, a little bit berry notes, a little bit more musty, earthy, and berry.
This is actually talking about crossovers. This is Dutch treat with Girl Scout cookies. Bay Area Girl Scout cookies. This is called the Dutch cookies.
It smells like it's like some kind of baked goods. It's got a little bit of a That's interesting. So are these names just like based off of the characteristic, or is it just something like a lot of them are just kind of silly names people are coming up with? I mean,
I mean, for example, this one, the last one, it's actually Mr. Nice, which is
obviously it's not giving much description.
yeah, but it's they actually named it after the ganja smuggler, like from the Oxford. He's like a
So he's a famous.
he was a famous like doctor, like a professor.
Right.
He just started doing ganja smuggling back in the 70s.
Okay.
When it was cool to put hash everywhere and you could just transfer it through the airport. Nobody knew what skunk smelled like. Call it skunk.
So this one's like lemon and herb.
Yeah.
And you know those people that are already doing, of course, since it's legalization that's starting to pop up medically and recreationally across different states, they are doing weed and beer pairings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a thing coming up now.
In Humboldt, last year there was a wine and butt pairing. That's how, and it was in the Humboldt newspaper. Will be like, well, we have the strawberry banana kush, which, by the way, amazing weed. Strawberry banana, you already have it, and it literally kind of tastes like it.
Right.
So yeah, the strawberry banana kush with some Chardonnay. And you're like, what is even? And it's from.
So you're not really sold on it, and then you try it, and you're like, holy shit.
Nah.
Now you're still not sold on it.
No, I mean I like all this stuff.
Yeah,
I mean?
But you like your wine individually. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean I like having my smoke on the side, and then having my wine drunkenness, and
right,
because it's a whole different buzz.
You don't feel like. I mean, I get crossfaded. You know what I mean? If I switch liquor and beer, I get messed up. I couldn't imagine doing wine and pot. Like I just can't. It sounds like a bad idea to me.
And in a social group where you have like so many people that you might not like, because not every stoner you like, you know what I mean, and not every drunk person you like, or right. I don't know, you're just like being high. I imagine the ideas that are running in that place, the drunken highness, the poisonous going on. I just don't think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's probably kind of a recipe for trouble. We've talked in the past about edibles and tinctures and things. Now, have you ever had a beer that has weed or anything infused in it? Have you ever heard of anything like that?
No, I have not heard of it. Yeah,
I know that there's some home brewers doing it, but commercially, I hear people asking like, "Why hasn't it happened yet? If it's state legal, or if you can come up with a reason for it to be medically useful, why isn't it being sold at dispensaries?" And what I've found out is that although breweries are state licensed, they are also federally licensed. So until it becomes federally legal, you're not going to see commercial breweries actually being able to do that.
Going to brew like that.
Yeah, but there are, but it's a lot of brewers are down. There's a lot of beers out there inspired by this other sticky green bud, as I mentioned.
What do they do? Do they mix the hops with the buds?
So you use them in substituting, basically. So there's water and alcohol and proteins and fats and sugars that are in the beer that THC bonds differently to different things, and you're going to get different qualities. Alcohol, I've heard
it's like tinctures.
Yeah,
much.
essentially like, tinctures. Yeah. So it will get some of that, and then also if you add enough of it, you're also going to get similar flavors from. Again, you've got the same oils that are in hops that are in bud. So. Yeah, so apparently there are homebrewers doing out there. I did some research this morning before you came over. Google search homebrew talk weed beer, and it's a message board, and it's homebrewers, and they'll show you how to do it. It's pretty
homebrew
fun.
talk.
Homebrewtalk.com is a homebrew message board, and then you just Google that homebrew talk, and then whatever subject of beer, and usually there's somebody over the last 8-year history of this thing that somebody's done it. So it's kind of cool. Yeah,
that is pretty gnarly. Especially 8 years ago, people are always like, "Hey,
yeah,
all this amount of wheat. Let's just do some beer now."
Right. So, did you know that there's a local brewery who actually got in trouble for naming their beer after a weed reference? Ale Industries here in Oakland, they had a beer called Orange Kush, and it's an orange citrus beer. And after they got in trouble for it, they called it Orange Shush. Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
But I wrote down a couple beers you might be interested in looking for if you want to get into some of these crossover beers. So Sweetwater Brewing has basically there was an interstate that was supposed to be coming through. It was Interstate 420. It never got built, but they just kept it. So they have their 420 Pale, and they've really ran with that whole connection. Magic Hat Brewing has their High PA.
The High PA.
Yeah, they're running with that one. Dark Horse Brewing, this is a draft only one. They actually have a beer that they wouldn't be able to get a label. All labels actually have to get approved by the federal government. So when you can't just put whatever you want on a beer. Yeah. You actually have you have to send things to a government agency and they approve the label. It's basically like, remember they had Camel cigarettes, and they basically don't want cartoon figures and things that are going to be appealing to children on cigarette packs or on beer labels. And so they have to make sure that there's that. And they also don't want drug references. Now, but we're going to talk about some people who have kind of gotten around it.
So Camel pretty much.
That was an example where it's like, if you're talking about an adult, something consumed for adults like cigarettes or beer or spirits, it can't be attractive to children, essentially.
That Camel is the coolest.
It's the coolest. Yeah, he's a cool motherfucker for sure. I mean, if Chester Cheetah started smoking crack, kids are going to start. Yeah, well, he seems like he might.
Yeah, that bag is full of rocks. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what. It's not Cheeto dust all over his fingers. It's something going on.
It's real dust.
So there's also Mount Shasta Brewing, which is in the town of Weed. So on their labels it said try legal weed. Yeah. And then it says they've also got Kettle House Brewing has a beer called Old Bong Water and a fresh hot beer called Fresh Bong Water. Yeah. I don't know. So these are all beers you got to start looking for, man.
Old Bong Water.
Old Bong Water. Yep.
Jeez.
Yep, and spelled OLDE. It's like a beer reference when you do.
Old.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like a porter. It's like some English style. Ye Old Bong Water, something like that. Are you familiar with Oscar Blues from Colorado?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, so
they
again,
have that really good Scottish red ale.
Yeah,
Ooh,
so that's Gubna, I think is what it's called. This is their session IPA. It's called Pinner, and as you can see on the can, it says "Can I be blunt?" And then on the back says "Sip Sip Give" instead of "Puff Puff Pass." Yeah,
do you want also brown? It looks like a blunt.
It's basically got a kind of brownish gold wrap, and it looks like a zigzag wrapper. Yeah, exactly. Do you want to describe what a pinner is for anybody who doesn't know?
A pinner is the kind of joint that you don't want to smoke with your homies. When you bring it in, you're like, oh man, this is not what it is.
It's all paper and very little filling. Essentially, well, the idea behind this one is there's a lower ABV beer, so it's like just a little something, just a little
taste.
Yeah, exactly. So they were really throwing this out there, obviously with the slogans on the can and on their press releases. They were saying, oh, we want it to smell like Bud, basically. And even where it says Colorado, it says Colorad. Like rad is capitalized, the rest of it is undercase. So
Colorad.
They're going for it. So, hey, cheers, man.
Cheers.
Let me know what you think. Not quite as aromatic as like you might expect, but it's a pretty solid little session IPA. Yeah.
Yeah. It smells a
little
really citrusy in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's definitely got some citrusy to it. So it's those American style hops for sure. I was trying to get some hops for this so we could actually compare what you brought, and the only hops I had in my closet were getting a little stanky. They're old. They're like turning yellow.
This is some stanky weed too.
Yeah, I know, but they were not in a good way. So what do you think?
Ooh. This is really good.
Yeah,
I enjoy it, and yeah. I mean, yeah, it's an IPA. Usually for an IPA, that's like what I expect. Is I expect really strong hops.
Yeah, and this is pretty mild. I could go a little bit further with it, but it is refreshing.
Definitely.
That's why I kind of wanted to start with this one because the next two get a little bit more intense.
Can I be blunt? Pretty good.
There you go.
Love it.
Some of our listeners may not know Luigi here is a local comedian here in Oakland. You have anything going on? You've got a show. You run, right?
Yeah. I have two. I have Sleazoid Comedy Grindhouse, which is at Thrill House Records, which also it is Record Day today.
Yeah, Record Store Day.
Yeah,
today,
Record
that's
Store
right.
Day, and they have a party going on there. But yeah, every last Thursday of the month, of any month, we have a show in the basement, which is basically stand-up comedy at first, and then we play a B movie, straight up a grindhouse.
Right.
We play some B movies, C movies, whatever, and You just bring your own beer, bring your own butts, bring your whatever you want, really, and have some fun. It's donation based. And then we have Brainwash. This is the last wash. It's Lisoit's last wash. It's the last Friday of the month. Fourth Friday of the month, sorry.
And Brainwash is in Soma in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's Folsom and in between 7th and 8th.
It's actually right by City Beer Store. That's how I always remember.
Yes, it is, actually.
And then where's Thrill House Records?
Thrill House Records, it's on 30th and Mission, right next to 7-Eleven.
Cool.
Really good, yeah. But it's really, really fun to go.
Have you noticed, when you're drinking your beers and you're, or if you're at your local dispensary, do you find it's a very similar clientele? Seems to me when you walk in, it's still white guys in plaid and beards, and it's about the same group of guys.
Yeah, and they're always asking a million questions, even though it says like specifically what it is in front of it.
Well, yeah. See, with beers, they'll ask, what are the IBUs, what are the SRM, all these things. And of course, they're asking, what's the CBD level, what's the so,
bro, and kind of like, what's your favorite? But what's the taste like?
Yeah.
How high does it get you? It's like, well, it'll get you high. It's like, how drunk will it get you? Well, it has 4.9% alcohol. So you might need some more.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty straightforward. That's why I hate those questions. Today, I was at Taco Bell. Nothing to do with this. Heard a lady say, this is my first time at Taco Bell. And literally took about 7 minutes to order her $5 meal. Like 7 minutes at the drive-thru.
To be fair, the Bay Area doesn't have a lot of Taco Bell, so it might be foreign for a lot of people. I'm from the Central Valley. There's a Taco Bell on every other corner. So I know my order very well by now. So
the guy behind me was laughing because I was just going on. I'm like, no way you're doing this for 7 minutes. It took me 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because you knew
I already know. I get Crunchwrap Supreme sub meat for beans. That's what I get. 2 of those. Yeah.
Delicious order right there, man. You need to get on that potatoes.
Oh, yeah. I could do the potatoes too. So do you feel like it's just like it going back to the question about like the kind of people that you get coming into bars and also into like dispensaries and stuff, we talked about the connection with the actual ingredient being hops and bud being in the same plant family, but do you find like culturally it is the same group of people? Do you find it's like the same demographics, that kind of millennial?
Well, I mean, why do you think when I was growing up, we didn't get good weed? We had all that shitty weed, and then
there's also shit beer.
Yeah, there is shit beer, but then you also, when we started getting all that good weed, where we used to call it, it's like, yo, you got that white people weed, which is basically what you're saying. Yeah, in a way, because it's true. I mean, it's not that it's just because white people are better or anything. It's just the fact that that's what you relate it to. It's like, we will like something much better. We will like something delicious, like craft beer. I didn't have a craft beer until I was like 19, which is not legal. Yeah,
right. But still.
But I'm from Puerto Rico, so it's fully different.
It's very different.
Yeah, legal there, it's 9 years old,
8 or under, you're allowed to say, hey, wait a minute. Yeah. And even then, you're not going to pull the beer out of their hand.
As long as you can put the beer on the counter and they can see your face, you're good.
It's all good to go. Yeah.
That's how it works.
Do you feel like some of these brands, like I mentioned some of these beers, do you think people are just jumping on the bandwagon, like not just in beer, but as far as like, everyone's got, branding, everyone's doing, look on Instagram and everybody's just trying to jump on whatever is hot right now. And it seems like, especially like with, vaporizers and, the vape pens and all that stuff. Like
everyone has them. Everyone has their own little vape pen.
Yeah,
Juicy J has his own. Big Crit. Everyone has their own vape pen. This is going on right now. This is where people are getting all their money. Like right now, if you see all the designs in shirts, Supreme or anything like that, Huff, it's all weed. And they sell like fucking crazy, because everyone smokes weed. Everyone has their own thing. And, now that I'm thinking, I feel like it's actually pretty good for everyone
to jump on it.
Yeah. It's like, fuck, why am I not jumping on it? I'm already doing it. But it's just...
The next Thrill House is going to be sponsored by...
weed.
By some dispensary of some sort. Have you ever heard of the GABF, Great American Beer Fest?
No.
That's in Colorado every year. So I was reading an article today that said that basically when everybody comes to town for the GABF, all the dispensaries basically double their stock because like people are coming from all over the world to go to this beer thing, but then they're like, oh, well, while I'm here,
get in the weed.
Yeah, get in
that's
that
like
game too.
Every time I hear someone say, oh, I'm moving to Colorado. I was like,
oh, you like weed?
Yeah, you're trying to grow weed. Like, there's no line anymore. It's like when I moved over here, it was like, what are you trying to do? Well, I'm trying to do comedy and grow a little bit of weed, see how it goes. Because in Florida, everywhere else, they'll fuck you up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you cannot lie anymore. I mean, you're going to Colorado to smoke weed. And you're going to Portland. I mean, you're going to Oregon to smoke weed. You're moving to Seattle to grow and smoke weed. Like, don't lie to your companies. Don't lie to yourself. You're doing it.
Right.
You know?
I kind of wonder how many of these breweries that have all these like weed references drug test their employees. Like, is it them jumping on and just doing something clever with a label, but meanwhile their actual kind of company culture is not actually all that cool? It kind of makes me wonder a little bit. I thought about calling their HR departments today and just, excuse me, I was just wondering. I was thinking about applying for a job. I just had a question. Do you guys drug test? Like, yeah. So maybe we
can do that right now.
I'll see what happens. Yeah. So I'm gonna get that second beer.
Let's do that.
Be right back.
And for those who are listening, if you don't know your order in Taco Bell, please just start practicing. Start learning the menu, because there's people like me who get very angry at your 7-minute order.
All right, second beer. This is from Stone Brewing. They have a series called the Enjoy By series. It's an IPA that they really want to be drank as fresh as possible. So they put on a date, and it says Enjoy By and then the date. And they really do try to take it off the shelf as soon as it gets past that date. So it guarantees that you're drinking a fresh beer. But I will say that they could pick any date. Of course, they picked Enjoy By for 2016, which is this coming Wednesday.
I'm kind of sad they didn't use the Stoned Brewery.
Yeah. It's, again, you got to be careful, man. State level, it's the ABC, but they don't do labels. They just are doing licensing, and then on the federal level, it's the TTB. Basically connected with ATF. Nice. So you're gonna see a lot. You're gonna smell a lot more on this one compared to the first one. Yeah,
definitely.
Higher ABV, more hops thrown in there.
It's really good. Still light.
Yeah, I mean, for what said it was 9.4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still pretty dry, but about almost double the ABV of the first beer we had.
This is definitely the kind of beer that all my homies in the kitchen will get. Like, what's the one with the highest ABV? That's what I want.
We haven't got there yet. Wait for the third beer.
Oh, shit.
We're just going up. So
that's the only way to go. Go higher, higher, and higher.
And now
420 episode.
And let's talk about that higher THC level stuff that you were talking about. Like, I mean, when you're enjoying different types, I mean, are you always going for the big time ones, or sometimes you want to smoke something a little bit lower? Like, what's the, as somebody who doesn't experiment with all different kinds of varieties of bud, it's like, mind blowing to me, like the variety that's out there now.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, even to me, I used to get what was called Regs or Arizona. That was it. It was like, yo, you got the Arizona, and that was like the best shit in the world. But no, definitely right now I'll go with indicas, because I like feeling stupid and forgetting things, just like earlier.
You could just drink to do that.
Yeah, but when the thing is that if I drink, I get sleepy. Right. I get that sleepy.
But isn't that what indica is always referred to as indicouch?
Yeah, indicouch, but I'm still my mouth's still running. That's the problem with it.
or the benefit of it.
Yeah. It's my mouth's still running. So with the beer, I just get too. I mean, English is already my second language. It's already hard to speak English, and then I start drinking beer, and I'm about to have the whole episode's gonna be in Spanish. Right. I just get just in my own level. That's what it is.
Right.
With indica, I can just relate to everyone. We're like, all right, you want to understand what I'm saying? I get you. With beer, I'm like, I don't give a shit if you understand what I'm saying.
So you're saying maybe weed makes you a little bit more communal, and beer makes you a little bit more like in your own, like, I don't give a fuck kind of like.
Definitely.
Yeah, see, for me, I feel the exact opposite. Anytime I've ever smoked, it just puts me in my own head, and I start thinking like, I'm not thinking about anybody else. I'm just thinking about, oh man, like, I can't believe this happened today, or I got that thing tomorrow, or
you're thinking what everyone else is also thinking about you, when
nobody's actually looking at me, but everyone is definitely looking at me according to myself. That's what I think. And then with me with drinking, I'm totally like loosened up and like want to talk and see what everyone else is up to, and like so it's kind of funny. I mean, to each their own. But,
Beer has always been like that to me. Still enjoy it and still won't stop drinking it.
But you got everything in moderation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the actual active ingredient in hops is lupulin, which is basically all the resins and oils and everything. But lupulin is basically the THC of hops, and it is a proven sedative, and it's supposed to kind of make you more relaxed and open, and it's besides the alcohol itself. Hops, high hopped beers can also have the effect because of that ingredient, not because of the alcohol. There's even people who like old brewing texts that you can find where people will make a little like pillow or a little cloth bag or sack full of like chamomile and other herbs, and they'll throw in hops and they put it under their pillow at night. It's supposed to give them like more like lucid dreams. Yeah. So it's not just this like flavor additive. It actually does have some effects, not to the degree of weed, but they're definitely there. And I can say that there was a beer that Mikkeller from Denmark, he put out that was like one of the most like insanely hopped beers. It was almost just kind of a gag, like to see how much hops you could put in. I think they called it 1,000 IBU, which means like, to give you an idea, like a normal double IPA is like 80 to 100 IBUs, and that's the bitterness that's added by a certain amount of hops. You can measure like, okay, it's going to add this many bitterness units, international bitterness units, IBUs. So like 80 to 100. And this was, I don't think it was literally 1,000, but he put as much hops as he could. And I remember drinking just one 22-ounce bottle. And for a guy my size and like my experience drinking, I can put down a 22, doesn't matter, it's fine. But I did it on an empty stomach and I felt high. I was floating at the end of that. It was weird. Like, so I was on a lupulin high for sure.
Oh shit. I didn't know that actually had, I mean, you know, being hops, being family from I mean, being are they even family actually?
Yeah, they're in the same plant family. Yeah.
Cool.
So now
well, I wasn't wrong. That's good. Well, yeah, being in the same family. I wonder if you know how they're doing like the wax and all this tinctures. Can they do tincture with that lupulin? Is it?
Well,
right?
there's more and more experiments going on with how to preserve hops because they're only harvested once a year, and I was actually going to talk about that too, about people experimenting with indoor grown hops. So we'll get to that in a sec. But yeah, right now they're only harvested once a year. And that's around October usually. And so now people are trying to come up. I mean, hops freeze pretty well. You can use hops from the previous, up to about a year or two. Too stretching it, but you can make it a year until the next harvest. Pretty well, but they are going to deteriorate a little bit. And there's definitely like when you get those fresh picked hops, it's definitely like a lot like more aromatic. So there's more and more experiments on like how to best handle them. So you have whole cone hops, which is basically the bud taken off the vine and dried, and then vacuum sealed and throw it in the freezer. And then you have hop pellets. So you actually pelletize in like a zero oxygen environment. You're grinding it down and putting it looks like rabbit food. And some people swear by whole cone hops. Some people swear by hop pellets. The hop pellets it's easier to like put a measured amount into your beer. Like, it's a little bit more steady. Like, what the outcome's going to be. Whole cone hops, there's a little bit more variable, like, flavor that gets put in. You can't just strictly do it by weight. Sometimes, it changes. But then there's people talking about, I mean, even like the terminology that with weed and with hops, I've heard about people using a hop hash that like they're, like a concentrate.
Nice.
There's hop oils that you can use a hop extract for bitterness. So if you want to add bitterness to the beer, without adding plant material that might turn grassy over time, you can do a hop extract and it'll just add bitterness without adding any of the vegetal matter.
Yeah, I was gonna say like pretty much like they could do like a shrub.
Yeah, yeah.
Like back in the day to do that, or I mean, when I said tincture earlier, I know beer already is kind of like a tincture when they're doing that. But I mean, like for someone who doesn't just want to drink,
right?
An IPA or something, and they just want to have the what is it?
Lupulin.
Lupulin, not lucidum. I just want to be lucid. No, lupulin. Yeah, for people who just want to maybe have that and see if there's any health benefits out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be curious to try. You could definitely. I mean, people have done like hop infused grain alcohol. Like you can put a bunch of hops in your vodka and see what happens. And yeah, I mean, there's people who make hop teas. Hops have only been in beer for about 500 to 700 years, and beer's been around for 10,000 years. So it's relatively new. And there's even though it's been around as long as it has, it's still being it's being learned. Yeah. So
what beer was made before?
So they called it gruit. It was like a spiced, you throw in chamomile or cloves and yarrow root and all these things, like whatever spices you had locally, you're still cooking your grain, converting the starch to sugar, having the sugar eaten by yeast, making it alcohol. Then that's beer. And then you would bitter it with something different because it was too sweet. So that's the whole point of adding hops is as a bittering agent to balance the sweetness from malt.
Sugar.
Yeah, exactly. So they were just using different things. In fact, I have a book in the other room I'll grab for you called Sacred and Herbal Healing Beers, and it's all about indigenous beers. And this guy has gone all over the world and spoken with local tribes about what were their fermentation like cultures and what were they doing, what were their rituals. I'll let you take a look at it.
That is fucking cool. Yeah.
And then I have another book. It's called The Homebrewer's Garden, and it's all about just different herbs and things that you can throw in your beer and what they're going to do. Some of them are for bitterness, some of them are preservatives, some of them are just for flavor. Shit. Yeah, so there's a lot you can do with beer, man. There's as much going on in the weed world as in the beer world as far as experimenting and figuring out
that's beautiful.
how to best handle stuff.
Yeah, I'm just glad that it's not just throwing hops in and people being like, "That's very hoppy."
I know.
There's
because the whole IPA game, man. Like everybody drinks IPAs, and so everyone's trying to one up each other as making like the most dank IPA, and so people are learning like hop contracts with farmers is a huge deal. There's a hop shortage that's on the horizon because there's new breweries are opening up, and every new brewery is making 4 IPAs because that's what's selling, and those are hop heavy beers. So there's basically the supply demand issue. Like the hop growers are not coming fast enough to keep up with the number of breweries that are opening.
They should start doing some light dip.
So let's talk about the indoor grown hops. So the problem is that weed, the amount of money that people are willing to spend per pound or by weight for weed is a hell of a lot more than what you'll buy hops. Like a pound of hops commercial to like a brewery will range depending on how rare the hop is and what the supply and demand is from $7 a pound to $25 a pound.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really not that much compared. So the cost of like all your lights and your heating and everything in your property to do it indoor, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, light dip is actually outdoor in greenhouse.
Okay.
And what you do is you use the sun and light and everything. You cover the greenhouse. So you're making it outdoor.
Right. So you're getting indoor quality, but outdoor. So there's in the most recent issue of Beer Advocate magazine, there's some farmers, or one of the more recent issues, there's some farmers that are basically doing that during the day, they're using the natural sunlight. They're supplementing at night with solar power, basically lights for their hops that are charged. The battery is charged with solar panels. So during the day, the hops are getting the sunlight and the solar panels are charging a battery. And at night, those lights pop on, use that battery until the sun comes back up. And then during the winter, there's like a underground system that is during the summer, there's like these pipes with water that are heated up. And then during the winter, that heat is stored and then slowly released to keep this greenhouse like the right temperature. Whoa. And so according to that article, like I said, hops are usually just one harvest per year. Mm-hmm. They've got this one up to like over 5 harvests per year. And hops usually take 3 years to mature to a yield that you want. It's kind of like grapes. Like you have to let the grapes get at least a couple years old. They've got their hop binds mature in like 1 year. It's really crazy. So that's new technology. They did a Kickstarter for it and everything. Yeah. So like I said, there's more stuff coming. Like it has to be because as craft beer is booming and IPAs keep getting more popular, you got to come up with more ways to bust out more hops.
When is the hop season? When do you start not harvesting, but when do you plant?
So basically, right after the last frost, and then you have the root looks like a rhizome, or it looks like ginger. It's called a rhizome, but it looks like a piece of ginger that's got like the weird kind of like bulbous thing that stretches out in a couple different directions. So you plant it, and you'll have these little shoots that come up, and then you have to train it up a wire. So you have like a trellis system. And so that's the thing is like with bud, you definitely want to keep it standing. You can use like those tomato plant wire things. But with hops, they want to climb like during their peak days, they'll grow like several inches a day like during the summer. And you have to train them to wrap around these like wires or these like this twine that you go up to the top. And then hop yards, they cut the top. Like there's like a truck that'll come by with a guy like 3 stories up. He's cutting it off and they're laying them down, and then it goes into a machine that like picks the hops off of them, and then you have to dry them. It's this whole process, man. I'm gonna be up in Oregon next month. It's not during hop season, unfortunately. I'm gonna go and try and check out a couple of hop yards because that's where everything's growing is in Oregon and Washington.
Yeah, there's none in California.
No, there's hop farms, but they're just not putting out the amount that people need. Not far from here, there's Hopland, which was like you can off the freeway. You'll see the exit for Hopland. Yeah, it was all hops out there. Basically, there was a case of infection and hops all over, and so that was right around the time that there was a lot more immigrants coming from Italy, and so they were coming and said, "Look, if these hops aren't doing for you, we'll grow grapes." And that's how the wine industry blew up in California, which has been great for California, but it basically wiped out hops in California. And so now there's a couple of people. I'm friends with this guy, Landon, at Binary Hops. That's outside of Bakersfield. And he's growing like heat-resistant hop varietals that were found growing wild in New Mexico. Like that. And so he's taking those like varietals or other varietals that are proven to be heat-resistant. So yeah, there's they're trying to get it going back in California. Slowly it's changing. But again, it takes a few years, and it's a lot of money to build the infrastructure, to build those trellis systems and to build the irrigation.
I mean, especially if you're paying $25.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not even getting that much back.
Yeah.
So
crazy. Can you clone?
Yeah, well, so that you take a cutting of that rhizome, that root, you just literally you can cut it in half, you can cut it in fifths, you can cut it up a bunch of times, just plant it, it'll grow. So if you had a hop variety that you wanted from somebody, they'll just give you a cutting from their rhizome, and boom, you can grow it.
Well, yeah, that's just really because I mean I just know people who do light dip and they grow their own weed, and they have about 3 harvests that they do in 1 year,
and they're killing it.
Yeah. Oh my God, are you serious?
Well, because the price by weight is a lot. You're getting a lot more.
So, yeah, definitely.
And they're strictly selling back to the dispensaries, right?
Yes.
Yes, all legal.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna open up one more beer. What'd you think of that last one, the Stone one?
That was really good, actually. It should be enjoyed before 420.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So that's why we're recording this a little bit early. This is what 4:16 or whatever we're on. So yeah, I'm going to get one more. So before we bust this one open, you're familiar with the term 420, obviously, where, it's the stoner holiday, essentially. Do you know where that actually comes from? Like who invented the 420 legend?
Is it Adolf Hitler and his birthday?
No, it's not Hitler's. Well, it is Hitler's birthday, but that's not where the weed reference comes from.
Wasn't it from
Although
the South?
No, so it was actually from San Rafael, not far from here. Like right over the bridge.
I heard it was like some kids used to meet up at like 420.
So San Rafael High School in 1970 or 1971 maybe, these kids would sit on this little short brick wall and they would basically like in between class and football practice and band practice and whatever else they were going with their day, 420 was the time that they could meet. So they would sit at this wall. one of the guys, his brother worked for the Coast Guard, and he was getting stationed somewhere else, and he showed them this map, and he's like, there's a secret stash of there's a secret grow operation out in West Marin. Here's the map. I've never found it, but you guys can go. And he was leaving, so they would smoke at Santa Fe High and then get in their Cadillac, and they would go, and they never found the treasure, but that was the tradition. So the nickname that those guys had, other than creating 420, which became code, people would say, "Hey, you got any 420?" That was
420 friendly environment.
Yeah. It was just basically how to say weed in front of your parents without getting in trouble. But the nickname they had was the Waldos, because they sat on that little wall, this little short brick wall. Right. So this is Lagunitas Brewing, the Waldo Special. They brew it every year for 420. This is 11.5%. Yeah, so I told you we were going to jump up.
Yeah. Oh, man. Good thing I'm not driving.
Yeah,
wink, wink.
You're not. You're not. Come on.
I'm not.
All right, so we're actually drinking out of Lagunitas mason jars as well. And there's actually 3 measurements on the side. 3.14, 10/6, and 420. Do you know what all 3 of those mean? 2 of those should be easy.
I mean, yeah, pi.
Right, and then 420 on top. And then what's 10/6? I know what it means. I'm waiting to see if you do.
No.
Okay, so...
it's 10/6. That's fucked up.
About to get 10/6, bro. So no, it's actually the price tag that was in the Mad Hatter's hat in Alice in Wonderland. It's 10 pence, 6 shillings.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes from. All right, let's see your glass.
Pull up to 420.
All right, I've had a 6-pack or 3 of these, so I want you to tell me what you think of these ones. I was drinking these last night.
Oh, I thought you meant a 6-pack already before I even got here.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
No. Last night. Yeah, a lot more aromatic, huh?
Yeah. I was going to say that smells kind of fruity, too.
Yeah, it's all hops. There's no fruit in it.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's just like these buds in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's some good head.
So,
definitely heavier than the other ones.
yeah.
You can even see it.
A little sweeter.
Yeah, you can even see it's a little cloudier.
Thicker beer. Yeah.
Delicious, though.
Yeah.
Holy
so
shit.
So those are out right now.
This right here, yeah. Sorry there. I want to see this. Special ale.
Yeah.
Cool logo, too.
Yeah, it's kind of got the Scooby-Doo mystery van writing on it. It's green and purple. A little bit of the story of the Waldos kind of wraps around in small print around the label.
It's got a point Reyes and keep on looking.
So did you know that Tony McGee, the founder of Lagunitas, was just featured on Snoop Dogg's website, Mary Jane, MERR, like happy, like Mary Jane, and he has a series that he's starting on YouTube called Highly Productive, and it's all about people who are users that are, running businesses and they're taking care of, really, really productive people. And so the first one was about Tony McGee, and it shows him in the morning using his pen, it shows him at a gas station picking up his gas station coffee and a bag of chips on the way to the brewery, and then it shows them vaping hops at the brewery, and then at the end he says, "My name's Tony McGee, founder of Lagunitas Brewing, and I wake and bake every morning." And then that's the end of the video. You should check. I'll play it before you leave.
Wait, you said he's vaping hops?
No, so he's doing that whole thing I was saying with the volcano. Yeah, he's doing it in at the brewery with his head brewer and one of the other higher ups. Yeah, so it shows him smoking from his vape pen all day, goes out to his farm, talks to some employees, and then puts it away when he gets to the brewery because he can't smoke on site, again, federally licensed facility. I will say that I don't think that they're jumping on any kind of bandwagon. If he's throwing his face right out there, saying yeah, I smoke every day. So.
He even smokes the hops. That's how he knows the quality of Lagunitas.
I think he was actually just doing the thing where you sniff it, press it out of the volcano bag. Like I said, I don't think it's good for your lungs. So.
It's the only way we check this is how we check the quality in Lagunitas. We smoke it.
Yeah. So do you know that they actually got shut down for 20 days from the state of California because they
420 days.
I never caught that. I'm gonna remember that one. They were shut down because the state thought they were selling weed, and they went undercover for 2 months trying to buy pot from the employees. But they couldn't. They never would sell it to them. They would only give it to them for free. And so they found 2 old Prohibition era laws that were still on the books for shutting down brothels. They were really vaguely written because they were trying to bust the mob back in the day. So let's write these really vague so we can just arrest people and they'll rat on on somebody, and so they were still on the books, and so they used those and shut them down, and they made a beer about it called Undercover Investigation Shutdown Ale. Not kidding.
It's the longest beer. Hey, yeah, do you have an undercover investigation?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think most people just put undercover on the board. I'm pretty sure at their local bar. But yeah, like I said, I think
was it good?
Oh, it's a good beer. Yeah,
Nice.
I might have some. I'll give them to you.
Yeah.
You have any local favorites drinking spots? Any local bars? You mentioned the Good Hop.
I went there. That was really good. I spent a lot of money.
That's how it usually goes.
Yeah. You're just like, oh, I like this one. Oh, I'm like, that sounds good. And then you end up spending $80. But it's fucking good $80. Really worth it. Delicious. Places that I go to. I like Amnesia.
Amnesia is a great spot.
Amnesia is fucking beautiful. I really like that place. They do comedy there.
I'll be there on Wednesday at for 420. So I'll be at a Zeitgeist at 420, and they're drinking Waldo, this beer. And then afterwards, I'll be down at Amnesia for their jazz night at 8 if you want to come by.
Whoa. That's what's up. Yeah, Amnesia is a beautiful spot. I like that place. And I like Latin American Club a lot. Like Legionnaire here in Oakland.
Right.
Really nice.
Have you been over to Beer Revolution on 3rd and Broadway?
I have not.
I got to go take you out there sometime.
Yeah.
This show's, it's only 3 o'clock. We got some time. Maybe we'll go.
Shit.
Yeah.
I have a Saturday. I'm not doing anything.
There you go. Your girl's still hung over in bed, you told me?
She is, yeah.
So you put it down last night, too?
Yeah. I was fucking out of my mind. It was a beautiful night. I started actually drinking pretty good a red IPA.
Do you remember who?
Line 51.
Yeah, so those are local. That's a local guy.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
I went to Commonwealth. Oh, Commonwealth is also
that's
really,
your spot. Yeah,
really. That's my girlfriend's spot. She swears by it. Yeah, she loves that place. So we went there, and I was drinking. It's really good. Like 8.5% alcohol, something like that.
Yeah, so that's just like an Oakland only. Like it's literally he only sells it on places that the 51 bus, the line 51 will like stops near.
Oh,
like it has to be like on the route. That's the whole thing about that beer.
Which is the brewery?
Yeah, so the brewery, I think he does, I don't know if he has his own system or if he contract brews like on somebody else's, but yeah, any of his beers from what, I mean, maybe he's changed it as they've gotten bigger, but at least the original idea was like any bar that was off of like the 51 bus line, that's where he wanted to have his beers. That was the idea. So
that's a great idea. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
First off, and it's worth it, man. It's really worth it.
It's a good beer.
Getting on the 51 and
just do the tour.
Yeah.
Stop at every bar. Anything you want to plug as far as any comedy stuff you got coming up?
Go check out TrueHustleEntertainment.com.
Is it Trill or Thrill?
No, True Hustle. True
Hustle. Oh, okay.
Like true, like hustling. Way true about it.
Yeah.
True Hustle Entertainment.
True Hustle Entertainment.
Yeah, that's the homies. Sleazoid Comedy. You can check me out. And Thrill House Records forever, man.
There you go.
That place is a shit.
Well, cool. Luigi, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you much, Tim.
Thanks for bringing these samples. I hope you enjoyed this beer.
Shit. You know it.
Cool, man. Thanks again.
Thank you.